Right, so this week I thought I would do something a little different. In the spirit of Inktober, I thought I would follow a theme, and this month, for this year, we're going to be focusing on jumbies. A jumbie, in Caribbean folklore, is a mythological spirit or demon. There are many different types of jumbies, but they typically arise from the spirits of evil people. On my island of Barbados, jumbies are also known as duppies. They are dark, shadowy figures of old who terrorize the night, seeking to trick, maim, or kill unsuspecting victims. The word duppy is a name of African origin, used commonly on the Caribbean islands of Barbados and Jamaica. The word most likely comes from the Ga language of Ghana, where the word adope literally means dwarf, but in Ghanaian folklore, spirits are dwarves. La Diablesse, or La Diablesse, which means the she-devil, appears as a beautiful woman wearing full white petticoats topped with a colorful skirt of reds, greens, and yellows, a white bodice and blouse, and sometimes a shawl that covers her bare shoulders. Sometimes she's described as wearing a colorful headscarf, hanging gold earrings, and always a large hat. The beauty of her dress and long flowing skirts hides a hideous face and a cloven foot. Sometimes two. She appears on full moon nights, near lonely roads, in cemeteries, or along the beach. She's also fond of attending gatherings, open air dances, and festivities. Once she has bewitched a man, she lures him away, up a cliff and over the edge. Sometimes she unveils her horrid face. Frightened, the man stumbles and falls to his death. Other times, she lures him into the dark night sea, where the waves engulfs him and he's never seen again. With the harvest festival in full swing, the air was ripe with the smell of good food, loud music, and laughter. Jesse admired the sights and sounds, but as the night drew on, he felt weary and on the verge of sensory overload. He was really only there because his girlfriend, Marissa, had convinced him to go. Now, he was kind of hanging back from their group, looking for a reason to take a break. He shook Marissa's shoulder lightly, breaking her away from her excited group chatter. "I think I'm gonna head out for a smoke," he said, pointing off into the direction of the old cemetery. Marissa's face soured, her dark brows drawn equally close to her dark eyes. He chuckled. Bad move, but she was equally as cute as she was terrifying. She scowled harder. "You promised, Jessie," she groaned out angrily. "I know, but I feel a little stressed, I just need one. Just the one," he replied. Her face was thunderous. "You don't need," she started loudly, then sighed. "You know what? You'd have to know." And she turned back to the group. He got a few questioning looks from his friends, but he just smiled awkwardly and walked off. He walked for a few minutes until he cleared the tree line of the old cemetery. At this distance, the music was at a bearable level, and the orange glow of the lights was dimmed. He continued walking, fiddling with the pack of cigarettes in his pocket. Away from the overload, he questioned his craving, and eventually took his hand from his pocket. He looked around the cemetery. It was an old one, no longer even in use. Some areas were even old cholera grave sites from back in colonial times. Marissa hated places like this, but he was neutral. The people here were long dead and of no threat to him. It was the living he feared. He paused for a bit and took a deep breath of the chilly night air. There was this amazing smell of night blooming flowers. He looked around, trying to spot the tree. He saw a woman sitting on one of the old stone benches and paused. Under her large brimmed hat, she turned to look at him. He walked over to her. "Hey," he started cautiously. Was she okay? Why was she out here all alone? "Getting away from the noise?" she asked him. Surprised, he scratched his head and chuckled. Yeah. She had a beautiful voice, and her red lips curved up into a smile. "Me too," she said. "Parties are fun, but sometimes you need a break, you know?" "And you decided to head to the cemetery alone?" he asked, a little shocked. She chuckled, and he smiled a bit. "Oh, them?" She waved out at the graveyard. "They're like old friends. I don't have to fear them." He laughed with her. "You're funny," he said. The floral smell, he realized, was her. Nice perfume, he thought. He stepped a little closer to her. She felt inviting and friendly. He took in her clothes in surprise. She wore a ruffled white blouse that exposed her shoulders. The sleeves were puffy and stopped at her forearms. Long white ruffled skirts brushed the ground, with a pretty plaid green and red cloth draped over top. "Cool costume," he said. "Are you a performer?" She chuckled again and shook her head. Thick dark curls bounced against her shoulders. "No," she drawled. "I just like to dress up for the occasion." She giggled and shimmied her shoulders coyly. He looked back towards the glow of the festival. Maybe he should be getting back. There was a rustling of fabric, and he turned around. The lady was standing now, watching him. She was shapely. The fluffy blouse was tucked into her skirts, accentuating her tiny waist. "Hey," she started. "What's your name?" "Jesse." He found himself replying without really thinking about it. "What's yours?" he asked. She twirled away and chuckled. "A girl can't just go around giving out her name. I have to make sure I can trust you first." "Fair enough," he said. He looked back toward the lights again. "Jessie?" she called. "Walk with me." He jumped when she gently touched his arm. Her hand was frigid. Even though he wanted to return, he felt guilty leaving her all alone. He started to follow after her, unsure how to proceed. He felt like he was in a bit of a trance, lulled by her soft voice, captured by her beauty, surrounded by the smell of flowers. She chatted to him softly, mainly asking him questions. "Have you ever seen the old church at the top of the hill?" she asked. "No," he replied, dazed. He knew of the old coral stone church that was once part of a plantation. "Did you come with friends?" he asked her. "I could go get my friends, and we could all go together." And even though he said it, his feet didn't stop moving. He continued to follow her down the old stone path, listening to the clip-clop of the heels he assumed she was wearing. She stopped and turned to him, red lips pouting. "But I want to go with you," she said. "Aren't we having fun?" She sounded sad, and he felt a bit guilty. Yeah, he stammered. They were at the tree line now. From here, things would get darker. There was moonlight, but no street lights around. He came to a stop and stared ahead. She took his hand in hers, and this time he didn't flinch from the cold. "Hey, Jesse?" she asked, turning to him. "Do you think I'm beautiful?" He was surprised. He realized he hadn't actually seen her face, tucked away under her big floppy hat, just her bright red lips. He muttered. "Am I not beautiful?" she asked again, leaning into him, laying both hands against his chest with intent. Her red lips drew closer to his face, and he smelt death on her breath. It was so foul, the smell of rot, of dead flesh, but he couldn't move away. Am I in danger? He thought distantly. Her lips and the awful smell drew ever nearer. "Jesse!" Someone called out to him. "Marissa?" he thought foggily. The mystery woman paused and stepped backward. "You said he went this way?" he heard one of his friends ask. "He said he was going for a smoke," Marissa huffed. There was an odd growling sound. The woman seemed angry. Her bosom rose and fell in deep, quick breaths. Her face snapped to his fully. She was no beauty at all. Her face was dry and wrinkled, and he couldn't make out any eyes in the dark shadows of her hat. Only dark pits. She stood there like an animal with its hackles raised, deep panting breaths, shoulders hunched, growling. And just like that, in a twirl of her skirts and a gust of hot air, she was gone. Instantly, his mind cleared. His legs trembled and gave out, and he fell on his butt. "There you are!" Marissa yelled, spotting him. "What are you doing?" she asked with a bit more concern. He looked back to the spot the woman was in before, and in the soft earth, there was only a single hoof print. All right, so that's it for this week. This look was a thing. I thought it was appropriate since death was kind of a theme this week. I know it's been a theme for the most part in all of these videos. The characters that I've written about have not fared well necessarily. The writing, I guess, is a bit dark, but I've been having some fun exploring those themes. As you can hear, I am stuffy again for some reason. I really don't know. I have gone all the years of my life with almost zero sinus problems, and now it's just becoming a thing, it seems. So again, I apologize for the nasally, weird sounding narration, but the story had to be told. It's either that or you read it on the screen while watching me paint, which I guess isn't the best thing. So yeah, tell me what you guys thought of this story, and let me know if you enjoyed this video. Do you like the illustration or not? Is it spooky? I hope you enjoyed it. There will be one more video coming for the end of Spooktober, Inktober, all that loveliness. So I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.